So why don't they want to continue? Mr. Speaker, they could produce no work in terms of what they have been doing for the last 2 to 3 years. They can produce no documentary evidence of anything that has been done, Mr. Speaker. That entire water transformation office, Mr. Speaker, when you look at it, it was a slush fund. It was a slush fund, Mr. Speaker. And that takes me into another area. You see, on the general election hustings, I kept speaking about a campaign manager who got almost $25 million in contracts in the last 3 years in Wassa. But a campaign manager that belongs to the People's National Movement. And today I can prove it. Today I can prove it. $25 million in 3 years. Many of which was Soul Select. Many of which is being investigated now. But Mr. Speaker, days before the general election, there was a company that was awarded a $3 million contract, Soul Select. And the member for Ruka Lopino looks at me very puzzled, but I'm almost certain he's not really puzzled. The member, I'm certain, is not really puzzled. You see, Mr. Speaker, the EBC publishes your agents and your sub-agents when you file to be a candidate in a general election. So, a good Samaritan brought to my attention that, and I'll give you the date, Mr. Speaker. I'll give you the date. The date was the 14th of April, 2025. And this is what it read. Notice, election agents, and I did seek permission to display the document. Election agents and in 2025 parliamentary elections. So the member for Ruka Lopino would have submitted to, he would have submitted to the EBC, his agent and sub-agents. Under the sub-agents is one Kyle Williams. Well, the member for Ruka Lopino will be quite familiar with one Kyle Williams. You see, the member submitted this gentleman, and we all know you submit people who are known to you. You don't submit people who you don't know, because they are acting on your behalf in a general election. They go into the polling station, they collect the ballots, they observe the vote. So this person has to be very close to you. You have to know them intimately, Mr. Speaker, to put them as an agent or sub-agent. The member for Ruka Lopino, like all other 40 members of the House, as Barataria Sanwan is reminding me, would have had to sign for Mr. Williams to be his sub-agent. So it was published for all to see.
Would you like your other 15?
Yes, certainly. Mr. Speaker, but there's a company that has been awarded about $25 million in the last 3 years in Wassa, a lot of which I said was Soul Select, a lot of which was directed, I will not say by who, but it was directed to Wassa. Mr. Speaker, the name of the company is Obscene Construction Limited. And what is mind-boggling, what is frightening, startling, but very hypocritical on the part of members opposite, is that when you pull up the directorship for Obscene Construction, receiving $3 million Soul Select, 3.1 million awarded to Obscene by Wassa a few weeks before the general election, awarded by Soul Select. Mr. Speaker, Obscene Construction Limited can be found on the company's registry. with the director being one Kyle Williams, who is the sub-agent as published on the 14th of April as a sub-agent for the member for Aruka Lupino. Then he would have been the outgoing Minister of Public Utilities. But Mr. Speaker, it does not stop there. Mr. Speaker, it gets better.
Mr. Speaker, on a point of order, 48.6.
Well, I don't think the member is imputing, for short reasons. I don't think there's any imputation there.
Mr. Speaker, 48.6. The member is imputing improper motives. The minister, Mr. Speaker, is not involved in these matters. So
yes.
What is the relevance of it?
If you listen carefully to the member, he's not... Well, right. So if you allow me to speak, I've allowed you to speak. If you allow me to speak, the member did not impute directly any motive to you. All the member said it was a directed contract. The member is drawing factual matters together and stringing those strands together. He's not drawing an inference, and the inference will be left up to whoever wishes to draw it. But the member is not drawing an inference. Carry on.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, they cannot handle the truth. They cannot handle the truth when we come with facts, and we have brought the evidence today in terms of why WASA and other state enterprises are in the position that they are in. So when we are being told, where will you get the money from? Had they cut out the waste, mismanagement, and excessive corruption under their tenure, Mr. Speaker, WASA would have been in a better position. I want to tell the member, $800 million in outstanding.
48.6. Mr. Speaker, 48.6. He is now aligning corruption to his statement that he made, Mr. Speaker.
He did not allege, the member did not allege corruption against you. There has been numerous allegations, all they traded back and forth. As a matter of fact, the member for Malabar Mausika compared the airport in Tobago to the Piaco corruption airport corruption. So it is not something you could seek refuge behind in the context of how this debate has been conducted. There has been a lot of leeway. There has been no allegation of corruption by this member or any member against you directly or indirectly. So there has been a lot of that going on. So carry on.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, through you, Mr. Speaker, I'm certain that the next bit of information that I'll share will find favor with the member for Faizabad. You see, the member for Diego Martin Northeast, in his contribution, the honourable member sought to give the government advice by saying, do not engage in any reckless spending, any reckless, crazy spending. Don't engage in that. That will cause a collapse of the economy. Mr. Speaker, if the honourable member had taken his own advice, then the Ministry of Public Utilities will not, and the Minister of Public Utilities will not be asked, which I'm being asked today, to sign off on expenditure incurred by the member for Diego Martin Northeast on the first day on the job. What? The first day on the job. The member told them he don't like the office. He don't like the uniform of the MTS workers, and I'll tell you how much it is costing the taxpayers. So when the member says, don't engage in any crazy expenditure, the member knows what he's speaking about, the member for Diego Martin Northeast, because the member himself engaged in crazy expenditure like a runaway horse when he got into public utilities for one day. The letter is dated, Mr. Speaker, March 18th, 2025, which says, and I quote, on his assumption of duty, the Honourable Carl Mimbert, Minister of Public Utilities, reviewed key aspects of the accommodation at the Ministry of Public Utilities as it relates to the Minister and Permanent Secretary. Mr. Speaker, today I am being asked, where will the money come from? But the member only telling us half the story by giving us advice to say don't engage any reckless, wild, crazy expenditure, but committed this government to $1.3 million for his frivolity, his excess, Mr. Speaker, his arrogance, and his abuse, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, but let me tell colleagues what it was for. What it was for, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the design fees cost taxpayers for a titty-by-titty office for the minister. $60,000 for design for a 30-by-30 office. $60,000. Mr. Speaker, the member wanted a new workstation which costed the country $40,000. The member then wanted, Mr. Speaker, paintings for himself, paintings for his technical advisor. Mr. Speaker, the painting for the minister costed the country. I'm not talking about the painting to paint the wall, You know this government, they loved paintings. They bought all these Casabon paintings. The former Prime Minister was a connoisseur of paintings and art. The member for Diego Martin Northeast apparently has the same sort of fetish. Mr. Speaker, for the minister's office, the painting there costed the country, I just want to make sure I'm getting it correct, Mr. Speaker. Yes, here it goes, Mr. Speaker. The painting, Mr. Speaker, costed the country $30,000. $30,000. Mr. Speaker, then they wanted a custom joinery, a coffee station, which costed the country $12,000. And if it wasn't bad enough that the painting cost $30,000, they paid $35,000 to install the painting, Mr. Speaker. This is it. This is the legacy of the member for Diego Martin Northeast. So when the member wants to tell us about reckless and wild spending, the member knows why. The member knows why. He went in there like an emperor without clothes, begging, boasting, I am the minister of public utilities, and now the country has to pay $1.3 million, and you did not last one day. You did not survive politically one day to enjoy the expense of the taxpayers. Mr. Speaker, while they were looking for a coffee station, they were also looking for a tea station. So the coffee station costed us $13,000. The tea station costed us $12,000. Yes, Mr. Speaker, that is the legacy of the member for Diego Martin Northeast. And they bend their heads in shame, knowing that they told public servants, nothing for you, 0%, 4%, 1%. But they lived large like kings and queens. The member for Rima was part of that. The member for Rima was part of that. The member for Ruka Lopino was part of that. So when you want to ask us where the money will come from today, we are being asked to pay for your frivolity, for your wastage, for your corruption, Mr. Speaker, your mismanagement. And this is it in the black and white. Today, a UNC government is being asked to pay for that. And Diego Martin Northeast smiles ear to ear, knowing that once more he will ride the back of the people of Trinidad and Tobago and the people of Diego Martin Northeast. Mr. Speaker, I want to remind the member for St. Anne's who made a comment in the debate. The member to ask where is the government getting the money from? And that the member then alluded that the government had the money. The member said that the government had the money and that we did not have the will to do the job. I want to remind the member that on September 8, 2024, the Trinidad Express carried a headline, Gatsby Dolly, the problem is money. the former Minister of Education told the country that the reason why they could not get the schools up to scratch, and the member for Barataria San Juan will remember this because it was a school in his constituency, St. George's College, that raw sewage and feces was running when the school flooded out. You remember that, member for Barataria San Juan? And when asked about it, the member for St. Anne's East, in her capacity of Minister of Education, when today she stands in this house and says, but there's no problem with money, we did not crash the economy. Every successive member who spoke opposite repeated the line that they did not crash the economy. But as minister on September 8, 2024, the blaring headline was Gatsby Dolly, money is the problem. And then said that she did not get the releases from the member for Diego Martin Northeast to fix the schools. So while they did not have money to fix the schools, they did not have money for WASA workers, they don't have money to put water in their taps. The member for Chaguanas East told us today they cut 18,000 food carts, putting people on the breadline. $1.3 million jump up in the air. Poof, gone under Diego Martin Northeast, who did not survive politically in the government. And the people of Trinidad and Tobago took him out politically from government because of the waste, mismanagement, squandermania, and dare I say corruption, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, for the life of me, I cannot understand. I cannot understand how a 30 by 30 room cost the taxpayers of Trinidad and Tobago $1.3 million. Why it is a painting, to install the painting is costing more than the painting itself. And Mr. Speaker, I am told that this was all done on the first day that the member entered. And it is here in the black and white. It is signed by the former permanent secretary. And the permanent secretary, the first day I went in to the Ministry of Public Utilities, told me, well, Minister, you know, all of this is new. So I thought, well, okay, all of this is new. Let's not go down that route. Not knowing, Mr. Speaker, that all of this was new, but the UNC incoming government have to pay for it. And this is not a government facility, Mr. Speaker. This is a rental building of one Faris Al-Rawi claim at one Alexandria Place. So therefore, Mr. Speaker, when we talk about the recusals, they were hoping that they were setting up that place so good that they were staying there to fill the pockets of the former member for San Fernando West. Mr. Speaker, I could put the country on notice today. Today, what I have shared with respect to WASA has already gone to the Honorable Attorney General, and that is why the member spoke about the AG talking about he will go to war with them. And the AG knows what he speaks about. The AG not talking out of VAPs and vacuum. The AG knows what he's speaking about because, Mr. Speaker, in every sector, whether it is in public utilities, they rushed. Mr. Speaker, in CPEP, Crow didn't get an extension for a contract. Western Rollins, not for 1 year, not for 2 years, not for 3 years, 6 years, Mr. Speaker. 6 years they extended the contract of one Western Rollins to do their political bidding on the CAISO stage. But I want to tell Crow, you could sing this, you could sing that. When it's time to go, your goose cook and it's crow. Yes. So you can go and sing about that too. Go and sing about that too. Mr. Speaker, they could call me the little butcher. They could call me the member for Couva South. They could call me whatever they want. The facts will not change the facts that the members opposite saw billions of dollars go down the drain under their tenure in critical sectors. Energy, you heard it from the Minister of Energy today. You heard it from me in public utilities. Critical areas that will redound to the benefit of people, putting water in their pipes, electricity in their homes. Mr. Speaker, that was not invested in wells. That was not invested in desalinated water. But we will have the opportunity to talk about that. Water production is up. Water distribution is up. Mr. Speaker, many parts of the country are seeing water in their tap because of political will. It requires you to invest in the infrastructure, and that is what we are utilizing the IDB loans for. We are utilizing the human resource that we have inside of WASA in terms of repurposing them and getting them to more productive levels now that they have security of tenure. But Mr. Speaker, you have a government who has the political will and the support of the member for Faizabad and the Honorable Prime Minister to change the lives of the people of Trinidad and Tobago for the better. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I know that many of my colleagues on this side are prepared and ready to speak. I know that they have lots more to tell this country about how this government has found Trinidad and Tobago after that former regime left us in serious difficulty. Mr. Speaker, over the last 2 long days of debate, we would have heard a substantial number of speakers speak. There was one current trend, one constant trend in the comments made by members opposite. That constant trend, Mr. Speaker, was an attempt to pin the deficit currently facing Trinidad and Tobago to the UNC. That is what they were trying to do. They sought to convince the population that the substantial deficit that we now face has nothing to do with them. Mind you, they started fiscal 2025 with a deficit, a known deficit. They did what they had to do, but the deficit they showed the country was $5.51 billion. So the PNM in government in 2025 started the fiscal 2025 with a deficit of $5.51 billion. We have now come to ask for a supplementation of $3.something billion, $3.14 billion. But you see the PNM on that side under budgeted. We have said that repeatedly, and they have denied it repeatedly, Mr. Speaker. But numbers don't lie. Mr. Speaker, just a quick glance at some information provided here to me, and you will see the trend, Mr. Speaker. I wouldn't do like one of my colleagues previously and go back to 2010 and 2008 and 2007, etc., etc., etc. Let's look at fiscal year 2023. You know what was the expenditure of the government then? $69.4 billion. Look at 2024, Mr. Speaker. $64.5 billion. But in 2025, when they came to the parliament, they came for 59.7. So while you are way upwards of $65 and $66 billion in expenditure, they knew that they were under budgeting. They deliberately did that, Mr. Speaker, so that they could fool the population into thinking that their budget was $59.7 billion, when they very well knew it was going to balloon much more than that. Mr. Speaker, early on in my presentation of this very same mid-year motion, I had indicated that the PNM administration, when they realized that their revenue streams were less than they expected, spent $1 billion less than they had budgeted. $1 billion less, and that is just in that quarter. Just in that quarter. What do you think, Mr. Speaker, happens when they spend less than they budgeted? They incurred debt, Mr. Speaker. They incurred arrears, and that is what we are being forced to come to clear up today. Several members on this side have mentioned it, and I want to highlight it before we move on, Mr. Speaker. We are here today to supplement the 2025 fiscal package supplement because the members opposite made commitments, hired people, took loans, and did not provide for it. What? Yes. They did worse than take loans, Mr. Speaker. They incurred expenditure. My colleague just mentioned one such example. Unfortunately, one such example that cost taxpayers $1.3 million because of the ego of the member for Diego Martin Northeast. The same member who stood there and told us on this side that he was given advice. He was given advice. Mr. Speaker, one of my colleagues said before, and I want to repeat it. We want no advice from those persons on that side. None. The member for San Fernando he too was busy giving advice. Want no advice from you all. When you had 10 years, sir, when you had 10 years to fix this country, what you did was make it exceptionally worse. We need no advice from you, sir. None. Not even the Minister of Finance was taking your advice. So I don't know what you bothering yourself about. Nobody was taking your advice. Remember, Mr. Speaker, the member for San Fernando East came completely unprepared to this parliament. The member for San Fernando East, the former junior minister of finance, completely lost. He stood up and commented with bravado. He said he had it on good authority that UNC had raided the HSF. This is the member for San Fernando East, having spent 5 years in the Ministry of Finance, claiming to have it on good authority that the UNC and government over the last 7 weeks.
Graciously withdrew that, Minister of Finance.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, because he knew it was untrue then, but he still said it. He knew it was untrue then, but he still said it, Mr. Speaker, because that's the caliber of the man, that's the mark of the man. If he were not challenged, he would have left it alone, Mr. Speaker. But let me give another example, Mr. Speaker. This is the very same member. This is the very same member. You had your chance and you had nothing to say. Please be quiet. Please be quiet. Mind your business. Listen, you might learn something.
Don't be distracted. Let's continue, please. Members, can we allow the minister to continue, please, in some relative silence?
Thank you very, very much, Mr. Speaker. The same member of parliament for San Fernando East, he said last decade was the most challenging one. He said we are all, despite it being challenging, we were all in a good space. This is the same gentleman who claimed to have stimulated the small and medium-sized energy sector, the small and medium-sized enterprise sector, Mr. Speaker. This is the same gentleman who also said that the TTRA was the only solution. He repeated, the member for Diego Martin Northeast. The TTRA was the only solution. Mr. Speaker, this is the same gentleman again.
Mr. Speaker, 48-6, please. I did not say that. Thank you.
(48-6) is imputing improper motive. If it's an inaccuracy...
Mr. Speaker, I did not say that the TTRA was the only solution for revenues. That is imputing improper motives. I'm sure I did not say that.
Well, I don't...
That would be incorrect.
I think the gravamen of what you're saying, it might be an inaccurate statement, and you could ask the minister to correct the inaccuracy. Minister, if it is inaccurate, can I invite you to correct it?
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the honourable member said that TTRA was the only solution to increasing revenue in this country. Correct? Mr. Speaker, ignorance is bliss for some people. Ignorance is bliss for some people. That is the very same minister, Mr. Speaker, who spent 45 minutes talking about TTRA bill a week ago, and came back here to repeat his TTRA debate, Mr. Speaker. Repeat the same, because he was totally unprepared. Mr. Speaker, I want to remind the Honorable House and the national population that this was the same gentleman who stood when he was on this side of the House, stood and debated a bill for more than 15 minutes before his colleagues corrected him that he was reading from the wrong text. That is the same gentleman. And he came here unprepared as usual to repeat and rant and rave. Complete waste of time, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the member for Diego Martin Northeast, again unprepared, totally unprepared. He too praised and repeated his TTRA presentation, Mr. Speaker. I seem to think that they had nothing to say. They had nothing to say, so they came to repeat their commentary. Mr. Speaker, the member for Diego Martin Northeast is the former Minister of Finance. Expressed grave concern, focusing on the rating agencies that take a look at Trinidad and Tobago. Focus on the rating agencies, Mr. Speaker. Willing them to downgrade Trinidad and Tobago. Willing them to do so. Bleating and... Mr. Speaker, these are the same gentlemen who deliberately misled the rating agencies about the readiness of the Dragon Gas deal on their watch. Mr. Speaker, rating agencies are important, you know. They are important. But you see, when you live in this country, when you sit on those sides, you're supposed to be representing citizens who put you in office. Yeah. That is who you're supposed to be representing. Your focus should be on improving the quality of lives of citizens. Your focus is on rating agencies and what they will think about you. And while you're pretending to be concerned about the rating agencies, you're calling doom and gloom onto this country. That fear-mongering may have worked before, it will not work today, Mr. Speaker. The very same member for Diego Martin Northeast stood on the opposite side and asked, he wanted to know where were the new sources of oil and gas? Where were the new products that were coming in the energy sector? 7 weeks we're here, you know, Mr. Speaker, 7 weeks we're on this side, you know. They spent 10 years. And after 10 years, they on that side are asking us, where are the new sources of oil and gas? Where are the new sources of energy products, Mr. Speaker? Completely clueless. Mr. Speaker, I don't know how the population could take any one of them seriously. Not one of them. Mr. Speaker, the member for Arima and the member for San Fernando complained bitterly about current transfers and subsidies being too high. Both of them. Current transfers and subsidies too high. Mr. Speaker, I hope the population is paying attention to them. I hope the population is paying attention to what is important to them, what they view as too high, what they would cut if it were up to them. They would cut current transfers and subsidies, which are benefits to NGOs, to average citizens, Mr. Speaker. That is their intention. They will continue to foist punishment on the backs of citizens who can no longer afford it,
Mr. Speaker, 48.6. Once again, that is not what was said. It's a total misrepresentation.
Mr. Speaker,
imputing an improper motive. An inaccuracy is an entirely different genus of objection.
Mr. Speaker, the gentleman is saying that I said something.
I may be allowed to continue, Mr. Speaker.
Affect the quality of life of people.
Member for San Fernando East, there's a vast difference between an imputation and an inaccuracy. Overruled. Minister, please continue.
Mr. Speaker, it's unfortunate that he just made my point. The member for San Fernando East just made my point. Completely, totally, and absolutely clueless.
Minister, that's a little uncharitable. So withdraw the clueless part.
I withdraw the clueless, Mr. Speaker. My humblest of apologies, I withdraw completely. The gentleman simply has an absence of intellectual capacity to be in this House. Mr. Speaker, the member for St. Anne's East in her presentation insisted that there was no crash of the economy, insisted that there was no evidence of a shortfall in budgeting. Mr. Speaker, I don't know where this minister, this former minister, is from. I don't know where the member for the St. Anne's East is living. Everyone in this country knows of the true state of the economy. As a matter of fact, several members opposite, including the member for San Fernando East, specified that the last decade was one of serious difficulty. In fact, the member for Arima herself said, there's no secret that this country has had revenue challenges. And that's a fact. It has had revenue challenges because of the incompetence of those on that side, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the biggest issue that they all chanted and raved about is where the money coming from. You see, Mr. Speaker, their focus is only on spending. So they spent $600 billion, Mr. Speaker. They borrowed and spent. They spent out every cent that we collected as a country for 10 years, Mr. Speaker. They borrowed, they spent over and above what they had access to, so that we now have to come and try to find money to spend to pay off some of their debts. And this is not that we are paying off all, Mr. Speaker. It's not all that we are paying off, because they saddle us with billions more in debt that the country will be paying for years to come, Mr. Speaker, including VAT. Including additional arrears that we only touched, Mr. Speaker, because we simply don't have the funds to beat with it. We simply don't have the funds to treat with it, Mr. Speaker. But all they want to know is where the money is going to come from. Where the money is going to come from. That is the only issue. But while they bleat about that, where the money coming from, you know, they're spending wild on coffee machine, on paintings, Mr. Speaker. That is what they, but you see, that is for the population. That is for the population. Where the money going to come from? Where the money going to come from? They just want to know, Mr. Speaker, where the money is going to come from, so they will spend it. That is all they're concerned about. When they had 10 years of trying to find revenue, they spent 10 years of undermining our revenue streams in this country, Mr. Speaker. My brother from Point 14 spoke about Petrotrin. They shut it down. That was a substantial source of revenue and foreign exchange. Substantial source. The Board of Inland Revenue, they shut it down. Another substantial source of revenue. Transfer pricing. They brought legislation and ignored it completely, Mr. Speaker. That was billions of dollars, Mr. Speaker. Billions of US dollars. But where the money coming from? Where the money coming from? All their focus is on where the money comes from. Careful what you ask for, you know. Careful what you ask for, Mr. Speaker. Because there are several places money could come from. Let's start with the first one. My colleague mentioned it earlier. Cut out the P&M corruption. Cut it out. Cut it out. Over $5 billion in contracts have been awarded per year by members on that side, ministers of the P&M administration. $5 billion of contracts awarded by P&M ministers to people and companies in open breach of the procurement regulations, Mr. Speaker. No projects identified, no checks and balances, no monitoring, no assessment if work were done. It was a free-for-all. $5 billion, Mr. Speaker. If they had simply followed procurement, if we cut just that illegal activity out, Mr. Speaker, we would not have to be here today.
48-6, Mr. Speaker.
another way.
She rescinded, Mr. Speaker. He's making an
Mr.
allegation.
Speaker, careful, young man. Just be careful with what you say. You be very careful what you say. Pick on somebody your own size. Pick on somebody your own size. That is a small man.
Let's not resort to that. The minister's time is being eaten up. Let's not resort to that.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. No, Mr. Speaker, the Office of Procurement Regulator.
Unless you carry on.
Mr. Speaker, has identified $5 billion in contracts.
Are you invoking? When I stand, everyone sit, please. Port of Spain South, there's no need to resort to that. You can make your point in a far more gracious manner than that.
Stand or sit when you speak to me.
No.
I will not take instruction from you.
Can I hear your objection on the standing order upon which you rely?
55(1)(a), Mr. Speaker. That is the standing order on which I stand to object.
And which part of it? A?
A, particularly the first three phrases ending with insulting or offensive word or language or unparliamentary expressions, particularly towards the member San Fernando.
Okay. Minister of Finance, it's late and I think there's an easy solution to all of this. Minister of Finance, amidst the shouting, I did not hear exactly what you said. In the same way, there was an allegation made against the member for Port of Spain North last week. I did not hear it. Can I ask you to search your conscience? If you said something objectionable, please withdraw it. Apologize. It is late. Let us move on. Please.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the Office of Procurement Regulator identified $5 billion.
I will not be threatened by the member for Pfizer.
$5 billion.
I will not be threatened.
In which, $5 billion, Mr. Speaker, $5 billion in corrupt contracts that were awarded during the term of the People's National Movement in government. In 1 year, $5 billion. Mr. Speaker, if that had been cut out, Mr. Speaker, we would not have to be here today. $5 billion, Mr. Speaker. I told you all be careful what you ask for. Mr. Speaker, we were talking about a tax gap. They like to talk about this tax gap of $10 billion, Mr. Speaker. And while we are talking about the tax gap, while they raise the issue of a $10 billion loss in potential revenue to this country, what they did is sabotage the one agency which could have collected that tax gap. And stand here today to say when we removed the TTRA, we lost this country $10 billion. Mr. Speaker, the TTRA under that administration had been in existence and pursued for 10 years, Mr. Speaker, and collected not 1 cent. It is the Board of Inland Revenue still today that is collecting revenue. So you see this $10 billion, there's sabotage of the BIR, there's sabotage of the Board of Inland Revenue just to victimize and sabotage workers,
Mr. Speaker, 48-6.
The way this debate has gone, I will allow it. It's all contextual. Minister of Finance, move on.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, they decimated the Board of Inland Revenue. They removed substantial staffing to the point where the Board of Inland Revenue was struggling to collect revenues, tax revenues in this country. That $10 billion tax gap that they spoke about, Mr. Speaker, became a $20 billion tax gap because of their actions, Mr. Speaker. Can you imagine today, Mr. Speaker, that the Board of Inland Revenue does not have sufficient investigative capacity to pursue tax breakers and tax evaders in this country? What kind of person, what kind of government, those on those side represented, Mr. Speaker, what kind of person are they when they would sabotage the revenue stream of this country and then come to impose taxation on people and telling us now about tax gap? They facilitated this tax gap, Mr. Speaker. Those are only two so far. $5 billion in the procurement regulated by the procurement regulator and $10 billion in the tax gap, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I go one more. There are several members tonight and on the previous occasion who highlighted billions of dollars in corrupt activity. Billions of dollars in corrupt activity that took place under the former regime, Mr. Speaker. If we cut all of that out, Mr. Speaker, we find ourselves with billions still left to spend. We do not have to be in this position today. We are in this financial crisis of a position today because of the total recklessness of those members opposite. It is almost as if they have a passionate dislike for the population of this country, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the Auditor General, and that is why they don't like the Auditor General. The Auditor General, Mr. Speaker, found $33 billion in missing money. Money not verified, not brought to account, not seen by auditors. You want, Mr. Speaker, they want to know where the money coming from? All we have to do is stop the set of corruption that the People's National Movement made endemic in this country, that took money from tax-paying citizens, Mr. Speaker. That's all we need to do. Because, Mr. Speaker, that is where revenue will come from. My colleague, the Minister of Energy, told you about a 10% increase in energy production, gas and oil production, Mr. Speaker. That too is where revenue will come from. Mr. Speaker, those on the opposite side want to know where we're going to do, which projects we're going to do that will generate revenue. Mr. Speaker, the member for Siparia for the last decade has stood in this very house and time after time have identified specific projects that can generate revenue. I recommend one of my colleagues, Mr. Gugaman, is it? Mr. Gugaman? Mr. Gugaman, Mr. Speaker, there's somebody who is very familiar with the use of Google and made continuous reference on it. I want to recommend that that gentleman who seems to be so inclined towards Googling to go and search for the UNC manifesto, Mr. Speaker. The Chaguaramas Yacht and Boat Building Hub to turn Chaguaramas into the Caribbean's go-to yard for yacht maintenance, refits, high-value boat building, capturing foreign exchange from 50,000 transiting vessels each year. For Tobago, the Tobago Cruise Ship Marina and Duty-Free Port, we will build a full-service cruise marina at Plymouth, designate Tobago duty-free, and put in retail bunkering and entertainment to spend from the regional cruise. Mr. Speaker, Carnival City, Mr. Speaker, Medical Tourism Hospital, Sport Tourism Revival, National Sports Industry and Export Services, Education Tourism, Sport Tourism, Health Tourism, Medical Tourism, Mr. Speaker, plus Cultural Tourism, Mr. Speaker. Those are all low-hanging fruit, Mr. Speaker. They just have no ideas, none of them. 10 years, Mr. Speaker, and all a bunch of individuals who could not pick up a laptop, a phone, or a basic device, or go to school and ask some primary school or secondary school student to do a little Google search to see what some ideas may be, Mr. Speaker, that they could use to develop the country. They could not come to this honorable house, Mr. Speaker, and read a little bit or listen a little bit. Instead, they listen not to hear, not to learn, Mr. Speaker, but to criticize. That is the only option, Mr. Speaker, of those members opposite. And that is why, Mr. Speaker, they are there and we are here. That is why the country rejected their incompetence and chose a government led by the Honorable Kamala Prasad-Bissessar with a vision she has been trying to show those members on the opposite side for a decade. Mr. Speaker, there's so much more to say. So much more to say, Mr. Speaker. I could go one by one. Mr. Speaker, I just want to treat with one issue that came to my hand today. The member for St. Anne's East, insisted. The member for St. Anne's East insisted that there was no shortage. The member for Diego Martin Northeast insisted that there were no arrears. Mr. Speaker, I have before me a letter from One Caribbean Media Limited. And I have I hold no brief for anybody. This is just a claim. Dear Honourable Minister, request for support in settling aged receivables. Mr. Speaker, with your permission, I'd like to read a couple of lines from this. Mr. Speaker, it is dated 15th of May, 2025. Yeah.
Your regular time is up. I'm advised by my clerk that since you're removing reply, you may have a 15 minutes extra. So.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker and Ma'am Clerk. Thank you very much. Again, the letter from One Caribbean Media Limited. Request for, Dear Honourable Minister, request for support in settling age receivables. I wish to take this opportunity to extend warm congratulations to you on your recent appointment as Minister of Finance and to wish you every success in this important role. I am writing to request your assistance in settling a significant amount of age receivables owed to the Trinidad Express newspapers. It's ironic I'm reading this. Owed to the Trinidad Express newspapers by several state agencies, a matter previously brought to the attention of your predecessor. I don't know if that's the former member, that's the former minister or the former minister, but a matter previously brought to the attention of your predecessor and several cabinet colleagues, that is his cabinet colleagues. Despite prior engagement and partial progress through reconciliations and limited payments, the majority of balances remain unpaid. Please see attached summary of aged receivables with a total outstanding balance of $2,536,775.31. Mr. Speaker, they provided a breakdown. Recipient, the Honorable Simon de Nobrega. Net balance, $37,424.90. Recipient, the Honorable Stuart Young, Port of Spain North, St. Anne's West. Net balance outstanding, aged balance outstanding, $91,370.16. Recipient, the Honorable Donna Cox. Net balance, $169,115.38. Recipient, Mr. Maurice Sweet, Office of the Prime Minister. Net balance outstanding, $51,165.01. Recipient, the Honorable Rohan Sinan and Ministry of Works and Transport. Net balance outstanding, or age balance outstanding, $260,596.01. Mr. Speaker, it goes on. Recipient, the Honorable Colm Imbert, Member of Parliament for Diego Martin Northeast, $1,278,740.82. Recipient, Mr. Speaker, the Honorable Terence Dial Singh. Well, that would be exceptionally expensive coffee. The Minister, Mr. Speaker, recipient, the Honorable Terence Dial Singh, Ministry of Health. $648,363.03. Mr. Speaker, these are age receivables owed to one company. that have now become arrears that this government has to find money for, because that government there refused to. They refused to. The total here, Mr. Speaker, is 2,536,775.31 owed to one company. And this is just one, Mr. Speaker. There are multiple versions of this. Multiple versions still coming to the Ministry of Finance up to today. Still coming to the Ministry of Finance up to today. I'm being advised TTT and others, Mr. Speaker. Millions and millions and millions and millions still coming, Mr. Speaker, of arrears incurred by members opposite, with no attempt being made at that time to pay, Mr. Speaker. Instead, they are hoping that we on this side will find the money to pay their bills. Mr. Speaker, it is therefore hypocritical for any member on the opposite side to challenge any one of the payments we are being made here today, we have been forced to make here today, because they know very well that we are now having to pay their bills, because they refuse to pay their bills, Mr. Speaker. Coffee and newspaper, and tea, and paintings. Mr. Speaker, those opposite live the life. In the last decade, Mr. Speaker, on the backs of citizens of this country, from the pockets of citizens of this country, the government of the day, the PNM administration, were able to extract revenue. And they live large. And today, we are still paying as a government and as a country for their excesses, Mr. Speaker. There was one comment made by the member for San Fernando, for Diego Martin West. One comment that is worthy of note. Only one comment. The rest was not relevant. His comment was, and this is a lesson for those on the opposite side, the time for secrecy is over. That is the only sensible thing he said. And Mr. Speaker, he's very right. You see, the time for secrecy is over, because we on this side believe in transparency, accountability, Mr. Speaker, and effective governance. Three things that those members on the opposite side have no clue about doing, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we are here today to supplement the expenditure for fiscal 2025 by a total of $3,144,000,000, Mr. Speaker. It is heartbreaking, Mr. Speaker, to bring this to this House, especially given that it is to pay for their feeding frenzy, Mr. Speaker. It is disheartening, because this is money that should have been spent on the development of Trinidad and Tobago, not to be spent on what we are having to spend now on because they failed to budget for it, Mr. Speaker. How can one explain that the government of the day, the PNM administration, took a loan and didn't cater for it in their budget? How can you consider, Mr. Speaker, that they will make an announcement in the budget but not made a provision to pay for it, like they did, Mr. Speaker, with the school grant for children? But you see, that is the kind of recklessness, that is the kind of mismanagement, that is the kind of operation that members on the opposite side have done for 10 years, which is why we have found ourselves in difficulty, Mr. Speaker, as a country. But, Mr. Speaker, I have the greatest confidence in the people of this country. I have the greatest confidence in this government led by the Honorable Kamla Prasad-Bissessel. I am confident beyond measure, Mr. Speaker, that we have the political will, we have the capability, we have the competence, we have the experience, we have the vision, we have the plan to fix Trinidad and Tobago, to take us back into where we know we can be, Mr. Speaker. We have done it before. and we will do it again, Mr. Speaker. This is just the start. Mr. Speaker, I beg to move.
Honourable members, the question is, be it resolved that this House adopt the report of the Standing Finance Committee of the House of Representatives for the first session 2025-2026, 13th Parliament, on the consideration of the proposals for the supplementary appropriation for the fiscal year 2025. All in favour say aye. Aye. Any against? The ayes have it.
Bills, second reading.
Minister of Finance.
Mr. Speaker, I beg to move that a bill entitled An Act to Supplement the Appropriation of the Sum, the issue of which was authorized by the Appropriation Financial Year 2025 Act 2024, be now read a second time. Mr. Speaker, I think we have spent quite a bit of time debating the motion. I stand by every comment made by members on this side during our contribution and by my own comments both in the introduction and in the wind-up. Mr. Speaker, with those few words, I beg to move.
Honourable members, I shall now pose the question for debate. The question is that a bill entitled An Act to Supplement the Appropriation of the Sum, the issue of which was authorized by the Appropriation Financial Year 2025 Act 2024, be now read a second time. Member for Diego Martin, Northeast.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Honourable Minister of Finance said he stands by everything that he has said and what his colleagues have said. Unfortunately, the member for Cova South is a stranger to the truth. While the member was speaking, I got the records with respect to the expense that the minister spoke about that he has to now pay for in terms of refurbishment works at the Ministry of Public Utilities. The Minister of Public Utilities had a long song and dance screaming at the top of his voice that I incurred a bill of $1.3 million.
48-1, I believe the member is speaking about the debate before.
No,
none
I'm
of those issues were raised in this bill.
I'm speaking about what the Minister of Finance
None of those issues were raised by the Minister of Finance in this debate. This is a new debate which he cannot respond to those issues.
I'm commenting on what he said.
No, this is a new debate.
Member. All right. I don't, in my respectful view, I don't think you could reply to the statement on the debate on the previous debate. This debate is strictly limited to the bill. So,
Mr. Speaker, with due respect, the Minister of Finance opening words in this debate was he stood by everything said by his colleagues and by himself in the previous debate. That's what I'm responding to. He said he stood by it. He said he stood by it.
48-1, standing by it has not been raised in this debate, Mr. Speaker. You cannot raise that.
Mauro, can we move on, please?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The cost was $160,000. The minister is a stranger to the truth.
We have no cause in this debate. This was not raised in this debate.
I think, Member for Diego Martin, you have an alternative way of dealing with that, so let's stick to this.
I have said what I have to say. He's a stranger to the truth.
Mr. Speaker, given that there is nothing, Mr. Speaker, given that there is nothing.
Minister of Finance. All right, can we have some order, please? Minister of Finance.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, given that there has been no valuable, useful comment by members of those opposite, not just in the last 10 years, not just in the last few minutes, but in the last 10 years, Mr. Speaker, I beg to move.
Honourable members, the question is that a bill entitled An Act to Supplement the Appropriation of the Sum, the issue of which was authorized by the Appropriation Financial Year 2025, Act 2024, be now read a second time. Those in favour say aye. Aye. Those against no say no. The ayes have it. Division. Charlotte? No? Charlotte, where's your stand?
57 and 58 to request a division. Okay, sorry. Thank you.
Your discretion on my part to refuse a division. I was just discussing the standing order with my clerk.
Yes.
And I don't think the way the standing orders are constructed, I have any residual discretion to refuse if a division is called for.
Mr. Padareth?
Yes.
Mrs. Prasad Bisasa?
Yes.
Mr. Tanku?
Absolutely yes.
Ms. John?
Yes.
Dr. Munilal?
Yes.
Mr. Lee?
Yes.
Mr. Hussain?
Yes.
Ms. Amin?
Yes.
Mr. Alexander?
Yes.
Mr. Maharaj?
Yes.
Ms. Mohit?
Yes.
Mr. Sturge?
Yes.
Dr. Bodo?
Yes.
Dr. Dowlat?
Yes.
Dr. Ali?
Yes.
Mr. Morris?
Yes.
Ms. Benjamin?
Yes.
Mr. Sobers?
Yes.
Mr. Watts?
Yes.
Dr. Sicharan?
Yes.
Mr. Kisar?
Yes.
Mr. Elder?
Yes.
Ms. Sam?
Yes.
Mr. Narayan Singh?
Yes.
Dr. Rup Narayan?
Yes.
Dr. Gosain?
Yes.
Mr. Thomas?
Yes.
Mr. Sampson?
Yes.
Mr. Gonzalez?
Abstain.
Mrs. Beckles Robinson?
Abstain.
Mr. Imbert?
Abstain. I can't support falsehoods.
Dr. Gadsby Dolly?
Abstain.
Mr. Young?
Abstain.
Mr. Scotland?
Abstain.
Mr. Dino Brego?
Abstain.
Mr. Manning?
Abstain.
Mr. Marcel?
Abstain.
Mr. Devines?
Abstain.
Mr. Birchwood,
Abstain.
Mr. Romaine,
Abstain.
Mr. Speaker, the results of the division are as follows. 28 members voted for, no members voted against, and 12 members abstained.
Bill is passed. So the results are 28 in favor of the bill, 0 against, and 12 abstentions. The bill is passed. The second.
A bill entitled An Act to Supplement the Appropriation of the Sum, the issue of which was authorized by the Appropriation Financial Year 2025 Act 2024.
Mr. Speaker, in accordance with Standing Order 87-2, I beg to move that a bill entitled An Act to Supplement the Appropriation of the Sum, the issue of which was authorized by the Appropriation Financial Year 2025 Act 2024, be now read a third time and passed.
Members, the question is that a bill entitled An Act to Supplement the Appropriation of the Sum, the issue of which was authorized by the Appropriation Financial Year 2025 Act 2024, be now read a third time and passed. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any against? The ayes have it.
A bill entitled An Act to Supplement the Appropriation of the Sum, the issue of which was authorized by the Appropriation Financial Year 2025 Act 2024.
The House.
Mr. Speaker, I move that the House now be adjourned to Friday, June 27th at 1:30 p.m. And we serve notice on members of the opposition that we will be doing the Prime Minister's Pension Amendment Bill 2025.
Honourable members, the question is that this House do now adjourn to Friday, June 27th at 1:30 p.m. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any against? I think the ayes have it. This House now stands adjourned to Friday, June 27th at 1:30 p.m.